And that's always bothering me. Or you hear somebody named Ace, and now that an Ace name is tied to the name D. How do you not think that's possibly Roger's son?
That's a
No, I get you.
far-fetched thing.
No,
it's fine to think. You can't be like his confirmed now.
I know, but I would start thinking that.
But it appears Rayleigh didn't know at all. The only time Rayleigh may have learned that Ace was Roger's son was during Sengoku's broadcast to the world at Marineford. If I'm wrong, then please correct, because I don't remember. And honestly, that makes me question Roger just a bit.
I was not shocked, but I was like, oh, so Shanks and Gabon did know that Roger had a son. And the fact that Garp is the one that told Gabon is like, so you just casually meeting Garp and have these type of conversations with? And I guess it's not coming to battle, or maybe it is, but it just seemed like he was just relaying information. I don't know what exactly they did with this information about knowing that Roger had, because also now it begs the question, because we all know Ace goes to meet Shanks. You know Roger has a kid. And I'm thinking, do you know that it's Ace, though? That's the only question I have. Because I went back to the chapter, right?
Shanks meets Ace.
Shanks meets Ace. Mm-hmm. It's a little the flashback going on to it, like reading that, and it's going to the part where even you have, while Ace is coming up, people are reading about him. Yo, who's this rookie? He's moving at a rapid pace, too fast, and not for his own good. Like even Whitebeard's curious about, yo, where's he from or whatever. In the caption, it's more like, oh, Ace just tells Shanks that he's his brother. So nothing really going on to know that this is the one that's actually Roger's child at all. Oda didn't give us that. We don't know their full conversation either. The manga ended it there. The anime gave us more, but I don't count what the anime said because mainly once he found out, oh, you're Luffy's brother, we're drinking, and then they moved on to the next thing. So I would like to know the perspective of if Shanks knew actually that Ace right there, that is Roger's son. What Gabon says about that, I wonder who he was thinking about. The person who had great expectations put upon them, they don't live up to that. We can see that not necessarily a theme in One Piece, but it's more like even if people try to, it's like the way the world is, things don't always work out in your favor. It's that you're kind of like the chosen one. It doesn't really end up for you, you know?
Actually goes into what Milo's been saying for a while, and the fact that Shanks kind of says it himself and viewed it himself that Ace and him are like brothers because they were raised by Roger pirates. So it was dope for him just to say it. Honestly, I just thought that was cool. Now, the whole Shanks knowing who Ace, being Roger's son, I think he did, going off obviously the story where we know that the fact that he just found out now, and Ace is 8 years old at this point. He never meets Ace until Ace is 20. And the time he meets him, he sees this person coming into him. Shanks has his guard up. Then he tells him I'm Luffy's brother. That right there kind of cancels out possibly you thinking that's Roger's son at that moment because you know Roger didn't have two kids, to your knowledge. They said he had a son. Mm-hmm. And now you feel, oh, that's Luffy's brother. Now, the only thing that gets me a little bit is, again, the name. Whether they know Roger's sword's name or not, that always bothered me. If you're aware of, like, you know, the name blades and stuff like that, like, even Fodder be saying, oh, that's Cavendice's name blade, it's this name. We didn't find it by somebody significant, we found it by some random people saying it. I'm guessing some people are knowledgeable of the name blades. And that's always bothered me. Or you hear somebody named Ace, and now that an Ace name is tied to the name D. How do you not think that's possibly Roger's son?
That's a
No, I get
far-fetched thing.
It's fine to think. You can't be like his confirmed now.
I know, but I would start thinking that. You know Roger has a D, and you know that his sword was named Ace.
Okay, but how would you prove it? Say you come to this assumption, right? You say you have this train of thought. How would Shanks go about proving that is Roger's son?
My thing is, you know, we don't know how much people credit the magazine, whatever, but Oda still wrote it, and he said, but Shanks does figure it out later on, having a conversation with Ace. That he starts realizing, yo, that's actually Roger's son. They said that he have a conversation with Ace, and later on when Ace leaves, he starts actually thinking and meditating after the conversation. Then he comes to the conclusion, no, that was Roger's son just now. And also, if you even talk to Ace and you bring up Roger, Ace always shows emotions about his father. He's been doing it since he was a kid. I'm not saying Shanks is going to straight up ask Ace, yo, is Roger your father? Like, I don't think he's going to do that.
He would have been fighting.
Yo, maybe. Like, legit. So that's when, like, just little things like that. Again, I could be crazy just thinking of it. I'm just like, that's too much of a coincidence. Yeah. D in the Ace name, that's two links right there. And Roger did said, I'm going to have a son. He said to his whole entire crew. But, like, I don't know. That's what I thought. Again, I understood why Shanks wouldn't know in the beginning, thinking that is Luffy's brother, because that's when that got introduced. Yeah. But just thinking-wise, the name itself. It's just point blank right now. But the expectation things, because that could be so many different understandings and interpretations. Are you also going to the potential that person had, like with Ace? Ace's potential could be as great or greater than Roger, but his flame got snuffed out already. So you're going by, you're not reaching to the greatest because you couldn't make it because you ended up passing too early, or you just aren't this great a person as your father was. So I was thinking of that. I wonder who are the characters that he's referencing at this moment. That could be just a general information that we know in One Piece and the people we know now and their children. But it was just interesting and how who we're going to think of off this aspect when he said that, knowing that's true. But now, like, he said it, man, it's not bolded, but like it is true though. We know some people we expect it to be this and they're not.
I thought similarly, Lawrence, with Gabon communicating with Garp. I thought it seemed weird at first, but then I remembered that a few chapters ago, after Rox was taken out, Garp was being carried by Gabon in the aftermath. Yeah. So it's possible that Garp does still feel indebted to the Roger Pirates for saving him in a similar way that Smoker felt indebted to the Straw Hats after saving him in Alabasta and letting him slide, or letting them slide while still maybe even maintaining a relationship long term. Because let's just be real, they could have left Garp. Like they had no real reason to save Garp, but other than maybe Roger told him to, like who knows? To me, it's funny that Shanks thinks of Ace as a younger brother. Assuming Shanks did realize at some point that Ace was Roger's son. I don't know what the timeline. I tried to look into the One Piece magazine and the novels as well to see if there was any confirmation there. But that means him trying to stop Blackbeard and Ace from clashing is an even bigger moment. Because that's not just him trying to stop the shifting of the era. That's Shanks trying to protect the little brother that he never really had a chance to know. Gabon's words to Shanks ring very true both in real life and in the manga. We often see folks like Ace as wasted potential, but in reality, it would be borderline impossible for someone, even Ace, to actually become the king of the pirates, given all that you have to do that. So many factors outside of his control for that kind of a title, it just makes it really, really difficult. For every legend we see, and every person we see rise to the potential of a legend, your Kobe's, your LeBrons and things, they're still chasing the shadow of Jordan. They're still chasing the shadow of this other legacy that came before them. And in Ace's case, he didn't even want that. So it's just kind of funny. Like Gabon speaks like, hey, people are bestowed these expectations. It's like sometimes you don't even want it yourself. And even when you do want it, sometimes it can really be impossible or borderline impossible to get it. You see, there's way more kids out here than there are Luffys. You know what I'm saying? I also made me wonder if Shanks thinks back to this conversation at all when he met Ace, when Luffy ate the Nika fruit. Like this whole conversation is like kind of geared towards pivotal moments in time, like people living up to expectations and who'll be the next Pirate King. Does Shanks think back to this conversation at all? Did he think back to it at all when he started interacting with Luffy more? During the same conversation a few chapters back, Gabon refers to Shanks as a child of destiny. And I really wonder how much Shanks realizes he will impact the shaping of the entire world with his actions if he does realize it at this point in the story already, because he seems so young. He seems so just like joyous. Like we get to more of him later in this chapter, but look at how boyish he is in this moment. He looks like Luffy. He's like smiling and looking up. He's all happy. I'm like, yo, like the Shanks we see now is a little more grounded in reality.
Rugged.
Yeah. But, I mean, that comes with age.
I was genuinely shocked that Gabon didn't know Roger and his love, Portgas D had conceived a child. We know Roger told his crew before they disbanded that he would have a child. But looking back, it seems that once he went into hiding with Rouge, he never contacted his crew again. At some point, Gabon and Garp must have crossed paths, and that's when Garp told him about Ace. But it appears Rayleigh didn't know at all. The only time Rayleigh may have learned that Ace was Roger's son was during Sengoku's broadcast to the world at Marineford. If I'm wrong, then please correct, because I don't remember. And honestly, that makes me question Roger just a bit. Roger knew that once he was captured and set to be executed, the world government would retrace his steps from the past year, track down his family, and take their lives. Yet, he chose to tell Garp, but not his own crewmates. And I understand that Roger trusted Garp just as much as anyone on his crew, but still, he never reached out. Imagine how different things would have been if Rayleigh or Gabon had known ahead of time. Ace could have been raised on Elbaf with Gabon, or on Sabaody Archipelago with Rayleigh and Shaki. I really like the idea that instead of a marine or a pirate needing a father, he found one in either men closest to his father, found an appreciation for his dad, and learned from hockey masters to set him on a path to become said Pirate King. I'm a sucker for what if Ace piece, I guess.
Larry, real quick, before you go on, I know you've given Rayleigh and Gabon some crap in the past about not spinning for Ace. Are they absolved now in your mind?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Because Rayleigh was still relatively close enough, I guess, to Marineford. Gabon not.
I think it's just I always look at characters from an aspect of my choice. So if I look at you guys and you had a son and he was at Marineford and I had the abilities that I had, I probably, as soon as I heard it, I would have been on my way. And I know that Rayleigh has swam through the Conbelt.
It took time.
It took time, but I know that he's fit enough to make the journey if need be. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, nah, you know what I'm saying?
One thing I want to add, to me, if Gabon knows this now, Lionel said earlier that Ace is 8 years old, Shanks knows this. To me, there's no way this information from these two doesn't reach Ray.
Yeah.
But at the very least, because we got later on, Shanks met up with Ray a long time and told him about Luffy. And also, another thing I want to add, to get to the New World, you have to go to Fisherman Island. And to go to Fisherman Island, you need your ship coded. Ray coached ships.
But you're missing the point that even Gabon at this point is saying Roger has a son, but he's not saying Roger's son's name is Ace.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what makes this even more interesting is Shanks. When Shanks says that if Captain Roger had a son, then that would make him his little brother. It casts Shanks' actions throughout the series in a completely different light. Did Shanks know Ace was Roger's son? Personally, I don't think so. It was an incredibly well-kept secret, mainly between Garp and Gabon, and like I just mentioned, Gabon didn't say he knew the name of Roger's son. Even Dadan didn't know Ace's lineage, despite being blackmailed by Garp into taking care of both Ace and Luffy. Please correct me again if I am wrong. Ace eventually sought out Shanks himself, like Lawrence mentioned. When they first met, Shanks immediately grabbed his sword, reacting as if he was ready to fight, until Ace mentioned that he was Luffy's brother, not Roger's son. Only then did Shanks relax and light up, eager to hear more about him and Luffy's adventures. It wasn't until later after Ace attacked Jinbei that Whitebeard truly took notice of him because he denied becoming a Shichibukai after defeating Hanafuda. Ace joined the Whitebeard Pirates, and sometime after that, though we don't know exactly when, Whitebeard learned who Ace really was and chose to protect him from the world, as Sengoku later revealed. That protection is the reason the world government didn't immediately come after Ace. Not long before Marineford, Shanks went to Whitebeard and asked him to stop Ace from chasing Blackbeard. Then, after Ace and Whitebeard was murdered at Marineford, Shanks arrives to end the war. We know Shanks was already on his way once he heard Whitebeard intended to save Ace, but that raises the question, did Shanks finally put it all together right then and there? Did he know Ace was Roger's son during his travels, even back when he visited Fuchsia Village? Or did he only find out later during Sengoku's worldwide announcement and realize the cruel irony that he was already on his way there, but he was going to be too late to save him? All of this is heartbreaking. It is. And it leads directly into Gabon's words to Shanks about the title of Pirate King not being hereditary. I'm going to take it a level deeper because you guys made some good points. Gabon says sometimes those with the greatest expectations placed on them fail to achieve that greatness. I can't help but feel like Gabon wasn't just talking about Ace. He was talking about Shanks too. The expectations placed on a young Shanks to one day replace Roger, as stated by Buggy. Growing up under that shadow was hard. I wonder if those words stayed with Shanks. Did he see himself as a failure or fear becoming one? Because when he finally learns the truth about Ace, he's too late to save his little brother. All he could do is bury him. After already warning Whitebeard, after already trying to change fate, Ace still passes away, and Shanks is left wondering if things could have been different had he acted sooner or known sooner. Maybe he feels like he failed Roger. But more than that, he probably feels like he failed himself. He could have done more. And just like Gabon said 14 years earlier, sometimes those with the greatest expectations placed on them fail to achieve that greatness. In that way, Ace and Shanks are tragically similar, both unable to live up to the impossible weight of the greatness the world expected from them. It was so heat. Anyway, I really like that part.